this AI team, what we are doing right there is create an AI that can solve the problem of job rejections. Do you know that most of the time it's not that you don't have, for the senior ones now, you might have your CV, have your resume, have everything, skills, and then you still don't get admitted, you don't get a job. So we develop an AI that can help you to compare your job descriptions with your CV so you can tailor it. So that's a bit about me. And let's get started into the main thing for the day. So the first thing I will discuss is dispelling the myth about this tech space. And the second thing, developing right mindset. If you have your book with you, please, it's a very short time that I have, take proper note, or rather at the end I can give you a link to download this slide so that you can have it on your own, go through it after this webinar. And then the third one is efficacy of internship. So let's go on to the first thing, the myth about this tech space. Let's dismantle those false ideas. Of course, Mr. Babatunde said some things about this, but I would like to recap a few things because I see that some of these things are still coming out in the questions. For example, someone asked a question like, don't worry, let me share this first. First thing, there's no feed without meat. There's nothing you want to do that there are no presupposed assumptions about it. One of the things that laid me back to in my career is that I had some beliefs, I had some ideas that were not actually proper. Things that I've heard from people say things, different kind of things. So these are the stuff that made up our ideology. And we tend to do things, we tend to act, we tend to move with this ideology. And if you don't shake them away, they may really, really affect our career progress. So the first one of them is technology is demonic. How many of you have heard something similar to this before? I'm saying this. I heard this from a religious background. Okay, Vortex Visions, you want to say something?
I heard this just today. In fact, I just heard it just 2 seconds ago.
Very beautiful. Okay, if you are a Christian in this place, there is tendency that you've heard this before. Well, it might be minimal now that we now have a lot of Gen Z, and the age right now, we are blending into technology. If you were born in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000, I would say within 2000 and 2003 and 4, anything beyond like that, you may not really have much experience about this. So, I know all of you are not Christians, but I'm bringing this out of religious background. People believe that anything computer is 666. Anything, we talk about this in public, in private. We've had a lot of preachers talk about these things. They say don't use laptop in the church, don't press phone. I'm not saying you should be pressing phone in the church. Pastors should not be using their iPad or laptop to preach because they are throwing away the Bible. Different concepts, like there are some terms that we also use in computer. For example, now there's something we call computer wizardry, and if you know the meaning of wizard, in Yoruba, I don't know if all of you heard Yoruba here. Yoruba has a word for Osho and Aje. Aje is female, Osho is male. So the one is wizard, the other is witch. So when they say computer wizardry, and a computer, it just means some level of mastery, like a wizard is someone who's gained mastery, blah, 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 like that. So words like that can make people think that this is demonic. So computer is from 66, yet it's like Bitcoin, anything cryptos. I'm sure you must have heard something like that before. So things like Python. I can remember sometimes ago someone asked me a question. I said, Emmanuel, you are doing Python programming. Don't you know that Python is a snake? And is a demonic snake that appeared to Adam and Eve. The rest of the story. So I will come here to audaciously tell you that technology itself is a tool. It's not actually a demon. It's a tool. but it depends on how we use it. If we use it properly, we are going to have good side of it. If we use it negatively, we have the negative side of it. So technology is not demonic. It's the people or the way we use it that may not be fine. So we have people that do cyber frauds. Do you know that with that one now? Some people even have perspective like everybody that is carrying computer like this, they are into Yahoo Yahoo. Anybody carrying laptop, because that's their perspective. So that's that about that. And then the other one is this: you need a computer science degree to succeed. Mr. Babatunde touched on this. You don't need a comp science degree to succeed. I can bet it with you. There are a lot of professionals that are in this tech field that they didn't have computer science background. Maybe they studied, like he said, they study a different course while they were in school. People who study business, people who study whatever you study, things like this. You just need to computer science or technology will just help you to harness your understanding about your specific field. Let's say you are into agriculture, you study agriculture in school, and then you now learn anything tech. So with tech now, you can combine your agricultural knowledge and your tech idea and provide a solution to what problems. You get that? So even tech people who are in tech, they need people outside of tech. If you are building a product, we invite in professionals in their field, agricultural economists, invite biologists to work together with developers so that they can bring out a beautiful idea. And then, the next one is that you must be a math genius. He touched on that, so I won't spend that time on that. Personally, too, I wasn't very good in math, especially the fact that my background, I went to a public school, and if you've been to a public school before, you know how the academic structure of public schools usually. So I didn't have a solid mathematical background. Then I used to think, how am I going to succeed in this career? Maybe this is not even for me. So I've had times like that. But the more I go into it, the more I see that it's not even necessary, except you are into things like machine learning, where you need to apply mathematics, but those things are not even as mandatory as people think they are. And then the last one that I had here is that tech jobs are isolating. Like people see tech people, tech bros, tech says that they don't associate with people, they are not social. Tech kills their social life, which is very, very wrong. Because in tech, you collaborate with people. Before I jumped on this call now, I've had a session with a couple of software engineers that we had a meeting. We had to talk together. That is interaction. So you need to understand that there's difference between isolation and being alone. Being alone makes you think, makes you settle down, makes you put your thoughts together, and that's what programmers, that's what people in tech, not limited to programming, that's what they do. They have time to settle down for themselves and do something. So it's not that you are isolated. Do we get that now? Now, before I continue, I'd like to hear from someone. What do you, from all of the ones I've mentioned above, which one have you heard before, or you think is affecting you right now, that you have been thinking that this is it, and then you now hear it right now that it's not even part of it? Does anybody want to share any idea? Okay, yeah, Michael, you can go ahead. Yeah, you can speak. Michael raised up and he can speak. If your mic is not working, okay.
I'm computer science education, but most people say that I have to be in computer science before I can be in any tech field.
Okay. You see, that's it. Thank you. What about Vortex? Vortex Vision. I want to say something.
I don't know if I could add to the myth, but there's this myth that you have got people saying that people thinking that once you go into tech, you could easily make it so early and get jobs so easily. And I think it's like a myth.
So that's it. That's it. So while it is important to have associated degrees, if you know that you want to go into tech and maybe you still have the opportunity to write exams or study in that line. It is very good you study in that line, but if you don't have the opportunity, it's not a problem. Yeah, so the next thing here is developing the right mindset. And I have a quote for you here from Marlon Bennett. He said, anyone can train to be a gladiator. What marks you out is having the mindset of a champion. Anybody can be a success. Anybody can be a voice. Anybody can reach the height of their potential. But the problem is that most of the time, we have some mindset that pull us down. For example, as we have discussed this myth now, personally into my background, I can assert something for you like these religious CCCs of a thing, demon, these knowing that I'm not very good in mathematics, knowing a couple of other things like that. They are the things drawing me back. They didn't give me proper movement. But when you start to develop the right mindset, you will find a way to free yourself from these loads. And then the first one I will talk about is growth mindset. What does growth mindset mean? Growth mindset is a mindset that is flexible to grow or to increase whichever environment it finds itself. You know that there are some people that say that they push blames of their success, of their progress on other people. For instance now, I can say that I am not good in tech today because of the person that taught me from my background. Okay, my background, the person that taught us, let me chip this in a bit. When I started learning, I had my first experience writing code in 2015. There was one of my teachers then that it just piqued interest in me and taught me a few things. That was HTML then. Now, let's say 10 years later, I didn't progress. I didn't make anything to do for myself. It's a thing I can just come out and say that my teacher did not teach me well. My instructor did not teach me well. Such people that push blames, that push responsibilities and blames, do not have a growth mindset. So I know many of you here, you are in that stage in your life where you are open to a lot of people, or some of you have been into places you have learned before. Some of you are just been exposed to these things. But one thing you must develop is a growth mindset. Whichever environment you find yourself, you source for nutrient. When we plant a seed and the seed dies, by itself, it roots down into the soil and picks all the nutrients it needs. So the nutrients will not come and meet you all the time. You see those, the trees in the bush, it's not all the time that who is going there to water them except if it rains. They create a system for themselves. That's why they are wild. So they create a system for themselves to learn, to tap resources from multiple ends. And then that will lead me to the second one, which is that you must embrace a lifelong learning. Lifelong learning means that everybody into tech are learners. Whichever stage you are, there's no height to this thing. There's no height. Okay, Mr. Engineer Babatunde said the other time that he started as a web designer, doing WordPress, web design, and then later he transitioned into cloud engineering. Same thing for me too. When I started, in fact, I started from the basics. My own was even funny. I started computing with typewriter. Some of you are familiar with typewriter. I started computing. That's technology too, okay? So, typewriter, then I proceeded into learning basic software packages, desktop publishing, word processing, presentations, and spreadsheets, database management, then graphic design. Then I proceeded into web design with no code, then HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I was learning like that. There's no height to this thing. And even after learning this whole web development of a thing, I had to shift into deeper version of it, software engineering. So there's no height to which you will say that I'm not doing this thing again. So everybody who is into tech should have a mind that you are a perpetual learner. Do you get it now? So The last one here is that you have to develop a resilience mind, resilience and adaptability, which means that you are not going to give up. There are times that you will feel like giving up. It takes a resilient man to be in the tech industry. See, there are other space that you don't even have to be resilient before you do those things. But in tech, you have to be resilient. Resilient means that you've come to a point where you feel like not doing again and you still keep doing. So your ability to sustain yourself even at your downtime, at your lowest time, to pick it up again. You fall down today, tomorrow you pick it up again. That is resilience. And then adaptability. So every day, every time, there are always new frameworks in tech. Maybe they release a new product, they release a new idea. For example, now 3 years ago, there was no ChatGPT. ChatGPT came up November 2022, and you can see how it has shaped the world. Now there are different courses on AI. There's AI integration. There's prompt engineering. There are a lot of courses on AI now. You see, I was posting something on my status yesterday that, in fact, now it's more of AI battle. Google is doing AI. They are competing with OpenAI, all of them. So all the workers there, they won't just sit down and say that, yes, we have reached the height of our career. They will keep learning. They will have this adaptability mindset that they can adapt to anything that comes forth, any stage, at any level. Are we getting it now? So, the next one I will talk about, which is the last part of it now, because of my time, I'm trying to cut everything short, is the efficacy of internship. And I will try to dwell a bit on this, explain the journey may be touched, but the lessons are priceless. So the journey may look like it is not, because internship are not meant to be a very long term thing to do, but they are very, very, very essential. Now, the tech industry constantly changes, and your ability to adapt is a significant advantage. But your adaptability comes when you intern. Let me tell you how this internship works. It doesn't even mean that you don't have a job. I know most of you, or this webinar is strategically for the people that are just transitioning into tech, or some of you who are already into it, who don't have a proper structure with your understanding. But you need to understand that even if you have a job, for example, now there's something I'm working on. Personally, I have my stack as a developer. Then I got one of my mentors too. He's also in Germany, and then he brought up an idea and said, okay, with this now, I'll be taken into the team as an intern, because the language, the stack rather, that's the proper way to put it in a tech language now. So the stack that they use that they use in the organization is a bit different from what I'm coming up with. So I have my languages that I code, I have my tools that I use, but then I have to come into this team with no experience with their language, no experience with their tools, and all of these things. So I have to come there as an intern, meaning that I'm working and I'm learning. Just take it like that. As you work, you learn. So learning never ends, but at the same time, you are working, you are making progress. So first thing that you must understand is that internship gives you real world experience. Let me bring this from my experience, and then I will ask if there's anybody that also has a similar experience. When I was learning coding and all of these things, we had sessions when we were given tasks, things like generate a random number, generate maybe a small game, or we are learning different things. This is what this is a variable. I know this concept can be strange to some people. I'm into the engineering part of it. There are some things that are not technical. So, but I'm sharing from the technical perspective now. So we learned concept like loops, concept like conditionals, but these things, we don't know how to put them together. That was the challenge we had. We've learned different resources, but we don't know how these resources actually make money. So we are more like half baked. But when you have the opportunity to intern, when you have the opportunity to work and learn in a company at the same time, you have the privilege to gain experience with real world problems. So they give you task and say, okay, let's say you're working on this project now, and you want to build a solution that, let me pick from my experience, this thing that, the one I talked about in my bio, as I work with Revert AI, like having to develop an algorithm that can read the user input. First thing is that it has to, if you submit a picture now or a PDF, so develop an OCR or anything like that that can translate that text from the PDF or the picture that you submit. It lifts all the text and just put them as normal text. You submit PDF or you submit PNG or JPEG of your CV, but when it returns it for you, it returns it as a normal text. So this is the text that is now going to compare with the job description that you paste. But this thing, in fact, is something that some of you have learned, some of you may even know. But just because you have the tools, you were never given an opportunity to work in an environment that challenge you with a real world scenario. You may never know that you know how to do that thing. So it is internship that gives you the opportunity to learn with real world problems. Do we get that now? And then the next thing is networking opportunities. I cannot overemphasize this. From the places that I've interned before, I've had good opportunity to network. So it gives you the ability to even spread your tentacles beyond your local space, beyond your local geography. Okay, say you are in Nigeria, I'm still in Nigeria, you are in Lagos, or you are in any part of the country, and you are working with an international company as an intern. You have the opportunity to connect with people like yourself and people who are superior to you, who are your mentors. And it's even very sweet, interesting that people who are your mentors, when you are interning, they tend to pay good attention to you than the people you just meet online. Of course, it's very good to reach out to people online, but people, some may be busy, some may not even want anybody to disturb them because they are fighting with one coding challenge or one issue or the other. So, but people that work in the same place where you are interning, they tend to give you more attention, and that's how the industry works. So, you have the opportunity. I can't overemphasize this. I've gained a lot of connection from people outside Nigeria in different places, in India, in Pakistan. All these Indian guys, there are many of them in tech. And even beyond that, there's one of them that used to give me Udemy courses. So what I cannot pay for, maybe he pays for the course or he pays for the team, because there's Udemy for business, so he pays for a team and then share the course with me. Things like that. So you can never know what can do you favor. You can never know where the next opportunity is coming from. But you have the ability to network when you are interning. Do we get that now? So the next thing is skills development. Of course, while you are building, while you're working, while you are gaining experience, you are enhancing your skills, which is the most important. You are enhancing your soft skills, you are enhancing your technical skills. So if you are the type that, let's say you are a marketer, that is a non-technical part now, and then you volunteer or you are interning at a company or an organization as a social media manager, you get to learn a lot of things that can even be very useful for yourself. For example, this team that I'm working with now, to say, although I'm not in the non-technical part of it, so I was able to bring my experience as a marketer, because I have some marketing background. I was able to bring those experience together and contribute even beyond my scope of work, and it was of immense benefit to the organization. So as you learn, you intern, you develop your skills. Do you agree with me now? So the last one I put here is pathway to employment. Maybe you don't know, a lot of people are looking for people that they are going to enroll into their company, but they will not just pick anybody. They want people that they train by themselves or people who have passed through their training curriculum. So they will not advertise that there's an open space in their company. They will just say that there's space for internship. You are done with your internship, then they can bring you in. So there's a platform called Zidio. I don't know if any one of you is familiar with that. Zidio is an Indian company, and someone is raising up hand. So this company now helps you they give you an opportunity to intern, to learn, and then at the end of your internship, you get an opportunity, you get a job offer, and that's how the industry works. So if you are just transitioning into tech, you must have your mind put into this. First, debunk old ideas. Anything that can drag you down, anything that can tell you that you cannot do it, anything that can tell you that it is just meant for some people. Maybe you're writing codes is not working. You can feel like this thing is not for me. Maybe I'm dull. See, you have to just believe, accept yourself at a very early stage. Whatever limit you have, accept those limitations, then start working on them. So you start embracing positive mindset. Work on those ideas. Try to put your energy to work, learn, connect, do a lot of things like that, and then get yourself into internship. Most people, even if they don't advertise that there is free or open internship opportunity, you can just send a mail to their company. They will accept you most of the time. Send a mail to the company. I want to volunteer as an intern. Blah 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 blah. Hit enter. If they don't respond to you, there are thousands of other companies that will definitely reach out to you. So, in conclusion, I need you to dispel any mental barriers that can pull you down. Build a positive mindset. Explore different resources that you have. Thank God, Mr. Baba Tunde gave us some resources. I also checked the link. You can check the resources, join communities, start a course, and do all your possible best, because there's no limit to what you can be. And let me chip this in now. Let me ask this question before I round off completely. I want someone that can tell me, okay, if you have a goal, let's say whether technical part or non-technical part, like what you want to, the tech track you are envisioning yourself, that you envisage, that you want to be, like your goal or your aspiration in the tech industry. Just anybody. Did you get the question, or I should just make myself clear a bit? Let's say you have an ambition to become a software developer or ambition to become a web developer. Anybody who is willing to share their ambition like that? You don't want to talk? Okay, Vortex.
Okay, so personally, I'm opening a cybersecurity company that would compete alongside with that of the Russians and Chinese. But that's on hold for now, though.
I really didn't get what you said you started, but I got. I really didn't get what you said you started.
Okay,
I got when you said Russia and Chinese.
I said I'm seeking to, like, in the nearest future or later on, open a cybersecurity company that will compete with those of the Russians and those of the Chinese.
Oh, very beautiful. Cybersecurity. Have you enrolled in any cybersecurity course? Oh, very beautiful. Cybersecurity. Have you enrolled in any cybersecurity course right now?
I'm not. I don't have resources to enroll in it for now. I'm just concentrating on. I'm just doing web design for now.
Web design. Web design. All right. Thank you. All right. There's someone also that is raising up hand. There's someone also that is raising up hand. Who could that be? Okay, this is what I want to do for you. I'll check my course library. I have a bunch of courses. In fact, on Udemy, I have over 300 courses on my account that are personally mine. So that's what I'm thinking. I could give you access to some of them. So for what you just said, I will see into what I can do. See if I have any course related to cybersecurity, and I will send you a link. I don't know how I'm going to reach out to you, but we can just find a way to. You can reach out to the host of this program. I will also reach out to him as regards a cybersecurity course. Let me just give one or two more people an opportunity for courses like that. Maybe you have a career aspiration. Any other person? All right, let me just cap it here. So, thank you very much for joining. Thank you for listening right from the beginning till this present time. And I remain Emmanuel, Olawuni Emmanuel Kayode. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and it will be a very beautiful thing to connect with you. Thank you so much. And I'll give it to my host. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you everybody for listening. Back to you, Mr. Samuel.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. Although, if not for this corporate stuff, we are not so used to this Mr. stuff, because I'm surprised to hear him call me Mr. Samuel. I'm just so surprised, actually, calling me Mr. Samuel. So,
is it DSO?
So thank you so much. Thank you. But I don't know. I would like to, I don't know if any one of us have questions, maybe like in the next 5 minutes, because our time is up. Next 5 minutes, if you can ask some question. And in lieu to that, there's something I want to add to what everybody is saying. One thing I discovered about tech is that if you don't have the right reason to join tech, you won't be able to go far. If you don't have the right reason to join tech, no matter how passionate you are, you have to have the right reason. Because passion is not enough. Passion is not enough and is never enough. Because there will be a time whereby passion will win off. So what will keep you going is the right reason. One of the things that will keep you going is the right reason to learn what you are about to do. And it's not also applicable to tech alone. I think anything we want to learn. So that's just the little thing I would like to add. So in the next 5 minutes, if there's any question that anyone has to ask, is any question, and it's not a must for you people. It's not a must for everybody to be writing code. It's not a must for everybody to be writing code.
Exactly.
It's not a must actually, because me myself, I think I used to write code at least, but I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I used to write code, but there are some ideas in you that you can actually make good use of. So you don't need to compare yourself with people, but think deep down. Just think deep. Retrospect. Think what are the things you love doing, and how can tech come in place? And I think Mr. Babatunde talked about that too. So you can actually want to go into public speaking as a tech person. So you must read and learn a lot about tech. So you might actually want to go into this fintech stuff. So there are so many aspects in tech. So it's not all about coding alone or all about designing alone. You get, there are so many aspects in tech. So that's just the little thing I would like to talk about. So I would love, in the next 5 minutes, if there's any question, like 1 or 2 people, they can ask question. So we can end today's meeting actually. Is there any questions? Are there questions? I think Oshati Oluwaseun Benjamin, I think, is having a question. Please kindly ask a question.
All right. Good evening. Thank you for the presentation. I just want to ask whether this notion is always true. Currently, I'm a software developer. I also work as a full-time worker in an organization. I just want to ask, I have friends who are into tech and that do take remote jobs. I just noticed or observed recently that those friends are actually doing better than some of us who are into full-time job or full-time employees. So I just want to ask, is this always true? Thank you.
Then
Okay. Let me see if I get a question correctly. Is it always true that people? I don't get that part, but I got the part because my network is not very stable. That some people are working full time, or you can help me rephrase the question.
I think what he's trying to say is that people that are actually working full time, they are not getting more opportunities. I think financially than those that are working remotely. You get that kind of a thing. I think that's what he's trying to say. Did I get you right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay. Well, it all depends. It depends on different factors. It depends on where you are working, because where you work it's a is a big factor to how much you earn. So someone who is working for a company that is buoyant enough to pay them, whether they are remote or they are attending physically, or it's hybrid either both remote and in person. So if the company is rich enough or buoyant enough to pay you, that is fine. And then it also depends on your skills proficiency. Definitely someone that's getting a remote job, most companies want to give remote jobs to senior roles, senior developers, senior engineers, senior cloud, seniors. You see things like senior. That's who they want to give the remote to. They want to give the junior ones hybrid or in person. That is why sometimes it looks like the payment or the earning is not as substantial as people who are working from home. I know people who are working from home. The person I live with now, that we live together, is my coach. He is a Salesforce administrator, and he earns last year in the same company. Last year he was working remotely, and this year he's working in person at the company. But I know that this year he earns more than last year, even though this year is now working in person. He goes to the company, he goes to the office every day. So things like that, I really can't. When it comes to payment, it is not predictive. It is not general. So it's about your skill proficiency and your agreement with the company you are working for. That's what I can say about that.
okay, thank you so much. I don't think we can entertain any question again because I don't think we can entertain any question again because our time is up. But DSO Academy will be organizing I think monthly webinar, but not just in tech area, because we have three area that we focus on, which is tech, finance, and then personal development. So and we have a WhatsApp platform, and I would love to. I don't know if I will drop the link here because I dropped the link the link that Mr. Babatunde talked about is in the chat section, and I dropped the WhatsApp platform too. So the for you to get updates about our next webinar. So and sequel to what Mr. Olawuni Emmanuel said, another thing again I observe about this tech thing is that tech is a journey actually. Is a journey, and at the same time you don't have to you fine you can have people that you're looking up to, but at the same time you have to ask yourself a question: what am I looking for? Why am I doing tech? Because the question that many people have not resolved in their heart is, why am I doing this? Another thing again that will make you different from people is that how well are you informed? Because how well you are informed, it matters a lot in tech actually. Abi, Mr. Emmanuel, am I right? Am I not right? Mr. Batsu,
You're very correct.
because how well you are informed will give you rooms for opportunities. And how well are you building good relationship with people? Because the more you build good relationship with people, it helps you a lot to scale up in anything you are doing. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's just the little thing I will talk about. If you have any questions, you can ask on the WhatsApp platform. So one way or the other, we will do justice to it. Maybe I'll add guest speakers to the WhatsApp platform and they'll do justice to it. And maybe it's something I will do justice to also. So they are my ogas. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr.
I'm
Babat,
very, very grateful.
Mr. Babatunde Victor. Thank you so much, Mr. Olawuni Emmanuel Kayode. Or is it OEK or okay?
It,
I think it's okay.
I use OK.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
And I want to thank every participant of today's webinar. This webinar would not be a success if not for you people. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, man. Have a nice night rest and enjoy your weekend. See you next month for our next webinar. Thank you.